On this edition of Time About the Movies, we are taking a look at 5 movies, including one that features active U.S. Navy SEALs among the stars of the film, Active Valor. Tyler Perry's in a brand new movie, as he's also the director and star of it, Good Deeds. We have the return of David Wayne after his success with Role Models. He has Paul Rudd and Jennifer Aniston starring in Wanderlust, along with a couple of other names you'll be very familiar with. Amanda Seyfried stars in a new thriller called Goon, and Sean William Scott stars in one of the best hockey comedies you probably have never even heard of, Goon. 5 films we'll take a look at to wrap February 2012 up. This is February 24th. This is Time About the Movies. Let's go.
Be safe.
You know I will. On February 24th, I'm not afraid. We all have something take a stand worth fighting for. Valor, rated R, February 24th.
So yeah, you can kind of see both the pros and the cons of this movie that we're going to talk about first off here. Welcome to Time About the Movies. Today we are taking a look at the 5 films that make up February 24, 2012. And our first movie is, of course, Active Valor. And pretty standard story here. An elite team of Navy SEALs embark on a covert mission to rescue a kidnapped CIA agent. What was most notable about this movie in particular was the fact that they actually brought in real U.S. Navy SEALs and Special Warfare combatant craft crewmen, along with a cast that includes, its biggest name is Rosalind Sanchez, and if that's your biggest name, it's probably not going to be a movie that's going to really warrant enough memorability to it, but it did end up becoming a big hit. It only cost $12 million to make and made $81 million worldwide, so it was a massive hit. It actually got nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Original Song. And the concept overall is a good concept. It's not a bad idea. Unfortunately, it's a movie we've kind of seen done to death before so many times. And this is one of those things where there's a good idea here, but you need a really good, refreshing script overall to really make it stand out in particular. It's a lackluster script. The acting overall isn't that great. From not just the Navy SEALs, but pretty much everybody in this movie really felt like they really did feel like they were not really putting their A game to this film. Like someone had an idea. Hey, it felt like a movie that while these people were on duty, someone said, "Hey, I got a great idea. Let's put one of our missions together and make it into a movie, and we'll stick in Rosalind and some notable actors later on down the road, so there'll be somewhat of a convenient storyline here." I mean, that's my thinking behind it, because, yeah, nobody really feels like they really wanted to be in this movie. There's nothing about the film that really makes it stand out. The action sequences overall aren't really all that impressive, and it really does feel like the type of movie made around the time of, when, Rambo was the big thing. It has that jingoistic type of an approach to it, which is, I mean, we hadn't had that in a long, long time, but there's a movie that really does feel like it's pro-America all the way, bro, like that type of thing, and not in a good way, but, I mean, I'll give them points for the effort. They did try to do something unique and different with it, but it's not enough to save the movie in the long run. At least in my personal opinion, it wasn't, so. A hard skip on Active Valor, unfortunately. Despite a noble effort, just needed a better script overall. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is Tyler Perry's Good Deeds.
Was completely predictable.
I can literally set my watch by Wesley. He always does the same thing.
But sometimes
My car won't start.
it takes something unexpected
Where'd you come from, beautiful?
We're just going through a rough time right now.
Are you hungry?
to remind us
Sometimes even the best of us need a little help.
Thank you.
who we were meant to be.
You need to go and find what makes you happy.
Why don't you think you deserve that?
Good Deeds at PG-13 in theaters February 24th.
Again, kind of a similar thing with Active Valor. There's possibly a good idea here, but it's bogged down by a really lackluster script here. You have Tyler Perry as the CEO of a family-owned company who befriends a cleaning lady played by Tandy Newton and falls for her. He's married to Gabrielle Union, which, I don't know if you ask me, I would rather have Gabrielle Union than Tandy Newton, in my personal opinion. But, I mean, Tandy Newton's not a bad looking person overall, but I'm sorry, if I gotta choose between her and Gabrielle Union, yeah, I'm taking the woman that I married in that case. But, again, there is a good idea with this movie, and it's something for Tyler Perry to do that's outside of playing a cross-dressing granny all the time with Medea. Like, the possibility is definitely there with this movie, but there is no story to really tell here. I mean, what's the big takeaway with this movie? What am I supposed to really take away from it? Like, this guy is way too nice to everybody, and, you know, creates this sort of rift with his wife, and it's kind of like, what's the point? Like, what are we even doing there? Like, why are we making this more of a big deal than it needs to be? And the problem is, it falls right into melodramatic territory. Like, this is a movie where, in the hands of a much better person and a much better script, this probably could have been a much more intriguing story, but no. This is a movie that really sticks to Tyler Perry's base audience, and it just, I don't know, it just didn't work for me. It's a film where you get Tyler Perry's trying to do something unique and different with something a little bit different than outside of his norm, but you gotta have a little bit more to it. There has to be that extra oomph in the script that's not just the same movie we see over and over again, and it's just not playing in this movie. It's not a very entertaining film. There's just nothing worth coming out of it. It's a real letdown of a film. It's a film that you think there's so much more to it, but the person involved in it isn't trying to make anything great or anything unique. He's just trying to appeal to his base audience at this point. And even his base audience, I don't think was really attached to this film in particular, because nobody really ever talks about this film all that much since then. I don't know. Maybe they do. I'm not entirely sure, but I personally didn't enjoy this one. So how about we get to a good movie finally? It only took us, 2 movies to get there. Let's take a look at David Wayne's latest film, Wanderlust.
Earlier. Touché. So, light on your bio. Where are you from? Is it cool? Maybe we talk about this later? Take your time. Stay. Just suck on it for a while. Mull it over. You never hear that at Embassy Suites, do you?
You can kind of see why this one didn't play as well as Role Models did. This is one of those movies that I think is specifically tailored more to the Wet Hot American Summer David Wayne audience than the Role Models David Wayne audience. I mean, Role Models was more of a mainstream movie than this film was, and Wet Hot American Summer too. But that doesn't make it a bad movie by any means. You got Jennifer Aniston and Paul Rudd starring as a married couple who try to escape modern society by finding themselves on a commune in Georgia after the economy crashes down on their dreams in New York City. So basically kind of a Did You Hear About the Morgans for Rich or Poor storyline, except this one actually works. It's very funny, and you see some notable names in the cast, including Justin Theroux, who was married to Jennifer Aniston at the time, Michaela Watkins, Malin Ackerman, Lauren Ambrose, Joe Truglio, Alan Alda, Catherine Hahn, Jordan Peele, many of the people from the state are in here. I mean, Carrie Kinney from Reno 911. Hell, Keegan Michael Key is in here too. Ken Marino, Michael Ian Black. So, yeah, not a shocker at all to see all these guys in here. And they make a pretty fun movie. It's not as good as Wayne's other work. I think his work with Wet Hot American Summer and Role Models is much better. But that does not make it a bad movie by any means necessary. It is still a very funny movie. It's a very absurdist movie. Like I said, it's a movie that's going to appeal more to the people who love Wet Hot American Summer than the people who are just coming in with Role Models. I mean, this is a film that just is so much better handled. It's a much funnier movie than people let on. Like I said, it's the weakest of his movies as a director, but it certainly isn't the worst one overall. It certainly isn't a bad movie. That's what I'm trying to say. It is technically the worst of them all, but still not a bad movie by any means necessary. In fact, this movie is more notable because it's the last film to feature the 1997 Universal logo, which basically was replaced the following week with the Lorax, with the current logo that we have now. And we'll talk more about that, the Lorax, on next week's show, which, yeah, that's going to be fun to talk about. One of my least favorite movies of all time, But this movie overall, I think is much better than a lot of people let on. I think it is a very funny movie. It's not as good as Role Models. It's not as good as Wet Hot American Summer, but it's still a really good movie nonetheless, and one worth checking out. If you love David Wayne stuff, you're going to really enjoy the hell out of Wanderlust. So let's go ahead and get back to some crap again. Amanda Seyfried stars in Gone.
Last year, she escaped a serial killer.
Why don't you believe me?
He doesn't exist. Last night, he came back.
You took my sister because I wasn't there.
She's probably at her boyfriend's getting some sleep.
I'll sleep when he's dead.
What if Jill isn't crazy? What if this guy really does have Molly?
He's gonna kill her tonight. She's gonna be buried at the bottom of some hole.
Let's finish what we started. February 24th.
Oh, sweet mother of God, what a disaster this was. In order to sum up how bad this is, I really just need to read this quote that I'm just looking at now from IMDb, from the trivia section. It says, the director, Heitor Dalia, stated to Brazilian newspapers that he had no control over this movie and that all the major decisions were made by the studio. He couldn't even meet actress Amanda Seyfried before shooting to rehearse and prepare for the role. Dalia almost took his name off the project, but in the end decided not to. Let that set the tone for the movie that you've got here, because, yeah, this movie is pretty bad. When her sister disappears, Jill, played by Amanda Seyfried, is convinced the serial killer who kidnapped her 2 years ago has returned, as she sets out to once again face her abductor. This is basically a Lifetime movie blown up for the big screen because we have a big star in Amanda Seyfried, who really should know better than this, man. I mean, whoever was picking roles for her really needed to lose his or her job, because, good lord, she picked some really, really bad movies. Like, this is pretty bad. You have a cast that also includes some notable names: Wes Bentley, Sebastian Stan, Jennifer Carpenter, Joel David Moore, Hunter Parrish, Catherine Moning, Michael Pare. I mean, good talent in here, just a bad script overall. This is literally a film that is something that could have easily been on the Lifetime Movie of the Week. That's how bad it is. Like, if it wasn't Amanda Seyfried, it probably would have been one of these a random up and unknown actress that you've never even heard of taking that role, and this would have been the Lifetime Movie of the Week with Tim Hunton being the villain, because apparently he's one of those people that plays a villain in a lot of these movies. Or him and Eric Roberts. Maybe I'm thinking of Eric Roberts, but I digress. There really is nothing more I can say about this movie. This is a pretty terrible movie, and it's not even. I don't even really need to give you a reason why it is. It's a film that literally is nothing new. It's nothing inventive. It wastes a really good actress and a lot of really good talent on garbage scripts that should not be on a big screen whatsoever. It's a studio movie. It's a studio movie that is basically trying to get as much money as you can off the tiniest bit of effort possible, and people weren't stupid enough to buy into it because it was a flop at the box office. And once again, Amanda Seyfried's star power kind of died off a little bit, which is a shame because I love her. I think she's a terrific actress, but yeah, she picked some really bad movies around this time, and this is just another one that's just kind of like, yeah, there's no reason for you to make this film. You're better than this. Everyone's better than this. So let's go ahead and wrap this up with a really good movie, one of the best hockey comedies that you probably have never even heard of, Sean William Scott in Goon.
I'm a hockey player.
They call you Thumb, for Christ's sake.
You've been touched by the fist of God.
You're like the Hebrew Dolph Lundgren.
My brother, he wants to offer you a contract.
You're not here to play hockey. You're here to fight.
Hey, I'm Doug Ladd. 2 rules, man. Stay away from Percocets, and do you have any Percocets?
All right.
Boss, ready.
I said, hey.
He is the master.
Ready? Yes. Thank you for asking.
Why is it that all the good Sean William Scott movies go straight to DVD? I mean, he's only had a couple of movies on the big screen since American Pie ended that actually ended up being good. The big one, of course, being the aforementioned Role Models. But this is a movie that, yeah, this one should have gotten a bigger release than this. I mean, this technically was released in theaters, but only in a limited assortment. And then it went straight to DVD almost immediately, because I found it at Walmart not too long after I saw this film. But in this movie, it depicts an exceedingly nice but somewhat dim-witted man played by Sean William Scott, who becomes the enforcer for a minor league ice hockey team. And you have Jay Baruchel, also Lee Schreiber, Allison Pill, and you saw Eugene Levy there. And like I said, this is a movie that should have been released on a wider scale. This is one of the funniest movies I saw in 2012. This is basically a raunchier version of Slapshot. And Slapshot was made in the 1970s when raunch was the way to go with an R-rated movie. And that movie is still hilarious after all these years. This is just as good as that, but even more raunchier, and it just works. Sean William Scott and Lee Schreiber play off each other so well. This has some of the funniest bits of dialogue that you will see in a movie at that point in that year in 2012. I mean, this is a really, really good movie that, I mean, I say not a lot of you may have heard of, but it has gone on to have a loyal following, and even spawned a sequel a couple years later with The Last of the Enforcers, which, actually don't remember how I feel about that one, so I have to go ahead and watch it again before we get to that. But we still have a little bit of time to get to that. I think it's not for another 6-7 years down the road, but Regardless, though, Goon is a really funny movie, and we've got the hockey season coming up in a couple of weeks here. The National Hockey League starts its season up, so why not get in the mood and watch a really good, fun comedy in the vein of Slapshot in this case, and just have a good time with it, man. I mean, it's a really, really funny movie, and more than worth a recommendation. Seek Goon out if you can find it. You will not be disappointed by it at all. And thus, with all that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. Next time we meet, we jump into March with Illumination back with their first animated feature film since the success of Despicable Me. Pop was basically a live-action animated hybrid, which even then I don't think was really their movie in particular. But this was their first fully animated film since the success of Despicable Me. Dr. Seuss's The Lorax, which on paper seems like a good idea, and seems like it has the right molds for a great movie, but if you saw my top 30 worst movies list, then you know exactly why I don't love this movie. But if you don't, stay tuned tomorrow to find out. We also have Project X, another found footage comedy, a found footage movie that doesn't work outside the horror movie genre, but kind of like with Chronicle, and decides to go with a comedy route. Doesn't work in the end? We'll take a look and find out tomorrow. And then we have a comedy that does not work, and that is Tim and Eric taking their awesome show, Great Job, from the small screen to the big screen in Tim and Eric's billion-dollar movie. So 3 films to take a look at next time around to kick off March. We'll do that tomorrow here on the show, so stay tuned for that. With all that said, though, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do me the honor of going ahead and hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the last episode we did. So with all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.